No doubt if I go back over there, they're going to go, oh, kill her! Kill the demon!
How do you do?
I haven't seen you before. Always glad to see a new face in town. Company's good for business and chatter's good for the soul. That's what I've always said. Anyhow, what can I do for you? What's been going on in Deerwood? Oh, a quiet little town. Not much happens here, especially not since the legacy hit. People realised they couldn't have babies and just stopped trying altogether. And that takes a lot of the excitement of the day-to-day, if you can believe me.
Well met, friend.
Why you're stuck limited? It's the damn roads. Can't reach none of my suppliers. So I'm stuck with whatever I can scrounge up in the wood. Dicarp, riverweed, and the like. That's well and good, but most potions require something stronger too. Troll skin, vessel bone, and what have you. And then there's the really rare ingredients. Things you'd never be able to afford, let alone find on yourself. Find on your own. The Hendyna winters as the rest of the story comes tumbling out of her. I've been keeping an eye on a drake's nest east of town at Drywood Crossing. The beast slayed just long enough to lay a clutch and move on. Like the Sky Mother, it wasn't a full-grown dragon. She tried to... Fresh eggs are much more useful than the ones that get passed between merchants or left in nest for weeks or more. And that clutch looked to be at its peak. Though I've seen about getting an egg, but I didn't realise so many of them had already hatched, or that young worms were so territorial. I could get an egg for you. She keeps her gaze steady, but you see hope kindling in her eyes and twitching at the corners of her mouth. I sure hope you're not leading me on. I don't think I could stand getting burned again. She bites her lip. If you really mean to go after it, I certainly pay you. Just remember, big as they are, dragon eggs are fragile, and there's a lot more than I can do with a whole one.
Greetings.
Okay, anything else I can do for you? Yes, tell me about the dragon egg. It's in a nest. It's perched in a cliff on the east end of Deerford Crossing. That's out in the wilds, just east of here. I'm sure there are others elsewhere, but the one at Deerwood Crossing is just the age I need. If you head out that way, be careful. The place was crawling with worms when I came out there, and I can't imagine they've gone anywhere else. How'd you get burned? Well, come on. By the flame. How bad does it look? Just say it. I know you'll tell me straight. It looks like it hurts. It looks like it hurts. That's mainly a soft way of putting it. Yeah. I told you about my running with the worms. I reckon you put the rest together already. Yep. So I'm looking for an Orland named Nyfre. I did see an Orland lady head into the Draconin just the other day. Don't know what her name was, but she was acting real sneaky like. So, Draconin. What's wrong with the roads? A noise of disgust rattles from her throats. Brigands, looters, you name it. The gods may be hollowing out our babies, but it's grown folk that's robbing out the rest of us. People are scrambling to Divine's Bay because they hear there's healthy births there, and all those refugees and abandoned homes attract desperate sorts, like fleas on dog shit. Yep.
Surely even you can understand that. We're decent folk, my lord. Perhaps you should leave and check the wilds.
Hello.
Nyfre stands by the fire, turning her lute and plucking its strings. She hums snatches of a melody as she goes. First time at the Draconin. Normally I have a song ready, but I haven't quite worked out this tune yet. I'm writing some chants about the founding of the Syn. Say, you interested in the story? I haven't finished the chants, but I could tell you all about it. Sure. Oh, look at Kena. Oh, excellent. Those rustic fables are always great fun. Let me get out something to write with. It was built in the time of Hadric's rebellion, and Adwin Lady Theron once had a keep here. One of the towers still stands, but the rest is said to be buried under the village. So just there. Anyway, she stuck to the side of the Empire, and a cont, contingent, cont, contingent, holy moly, and a contingent of Doc Hadrit's Knights of the Crucible helped the farmers and colonists in the area turn her keep to rubble. Ooh. So they were already here, it seems. This inn was the first building that sprang up from the ruin, built with some of the same bricks the colonists had pulled from the Lady Thane's castle, they say. Supposedly, the quarterstaff or her chief wizard even got lost in the construction, mortared into a wall or nailed under a floorboard. Anyway, the inn was supposed to be a haven and a meeting place while the locals built the new town. What do you mean? What do you mean, supposed to be? The Eorians are an orderly lot, and the more these new neighbours met, the more they argued. They realised they didn't agree on much beside ousting the old lord. The biggest divide was over the Gulfafans and their nearby ruins. Hadrit's Knights and their supporters wanted to keep peace, but a group of misfits were more anarchic, with more anarchic learnings that had formed in town wanted to go after the tribes the same way they'd gone after their lord. Soon the villagers were fighting with each other as much as with the Ardwins. In the end, memories of the Broken Stone War and the War of Black Trees were fresh enough that the Duke's soldiers won the day. Most of the other villagers came around eventually, but some of the core troublemakers left to join the front lines of the War of Defiance, and others, I've heard, found their way into the Gilded Compass, the most forward-looking of the Gulfafan tribes. I don't know if I believe that part myself, but it makes a good story. There's a portrait of some of the chief rabble-rousers and his rival in the peacekeeping faction. Someone's idea of a joke. I don't think they were particularly amused. I want to hear about the Brokenstone War. That was the first major conflict between the original Adarian settlers and the Gulfafans. Happened 3 years into colonisation, with some farmers knocked over an Adair Merhin that was part of Gwithin Druin. The war didn't last long, but it spread quickly and claimed thousands. In the early weeks, most of the colonists didn't realise there was a war going on until the Gulfafan raiders hit the villages. There'd been small, spontaneous skirmishes between the colonists and the locals before then, but this was organised, and it was the start of decades of violence between the colonists and the Gulfafans. And as you can see, Deerwood's full of history, even a little village like this. War of the Black Trees. It started back in the colonial days, almost 30 years after the Brokenstone War, even though isolated conflicts still broke out between the settlers and Gulfafans. Both sides had officially agreed to peace. Ingrid Hadlet, Admin's father, was grief at the time. As part of peace negotiations, he signed treaties prohibiting Adarian colonists from looting everything ruins. However, he'd been unable to outlaw the use of captured Gulfafans as slaves. What's a grief? Grief. Obviously someone must have died or something. He was the governor of a colony. Oh, there you go then. So he was a governor of a colony as is subdifferent to the Adarian Empire. The early leaders of the Adair colony in the Deerwood, including Edring and Admund Hedrick, were griefs. At the start of the War of Defiance, Admund hadn't declared himself Duke of an independent Deerwood rather than grief of the Emperor's colony. Ooh. It was the same term used for leaders of the nearly independent Villian republics. Anyway, we haven't had a grief since. Indeed, the taking of Gulfafan has continued to be a source of conflict. It came to a head when Imperial agents, aided by certain Earls in Deerwood, began looting the ruins again. See, the Emperor had never actually agreed to Hadrit's treaties on the matter, and a recent succession of variant republics likely left him eager to weaken Hadrit's position. The looting sparked a brutal slave uprising and a guerrilla campaign amongst the Grafafans. Edwin Hadlick was too old to lead forces into battle, and so he sent his son, Admeth. Admeth made a costly but efficient decision that ended the war faster than anyone could have imagined. He burned the forest near the Isaac in the river to keep the Grafafan war bands from retreating. Thousands of Grafafans died, and Admeth repeated his scorched earth tactics in the following months. He wore down the remainder of the forces. To this day, over 150 years later, there are still sections of Deerwood while the trees were nothing but bare, charred chunks. Well, well, well.
I'll take a look.
You can't see me. See this? Here's sort you out for food and drink. He certainly will.
Let's keep you.
Then he digs into a mug of dirty rug. His eyes under his thick brows are tired but watchful. He gives you a quick nod as you approach the bar. Don't see many travellers these days. Something I can do for you? What was that exchange about the nobleman about? Well, you really know what it's about, you know. Folk around here is decent. They mind their own business. You want to stick your nose in it? Go talk to him yourself. Yeah. Ask, have you seen an Orland named Nyfre? Twitchy lady, that one. Tell me about the village. Walk from one bridge to the next and you've seen it. We're quiet, hard-working folk. We keep to ourselves and don't take to being pushed around. He glances at the well-dressed man standing off to the side. Used to be a castle here, built by some family of endearing thanks back when the Empire first came. Only one tower still standing, and that's part of Tyrion's shop now. Well, it was his shop until, fortunately, we killed him. Sid the bard by the fire could spin your yarn. Yes, he lives here. Not many anymore. Hard to keep people around with anyone's here birthing Haliborn. But we've got a few who stick around and do business. Teagill's the leather courier. Not anymore. Hendyna crafts potions and Riffin trades in general goods. Rumble's a pig farmer, or was anyway. So tell me about Dengler. He's a courier. Treats leathers, well, did treat leather, and makes armour and a few other goods for it. The problem is, the smell of the tallow and deer shit tends to put people off their food. And his shop's right next door. What's Hedman's story? Lady's a clever hand with potions and poultices. Got herself into trouble with a nest of worms. You know about that one? Wyruff, been around longer than I have. Nice enough fella, but never could find his way to end of a sentence. His shop's across the square. Something happened to Rampage pigs, I take it? Damn Ober carried them off now. He squeals once he's heard. He squeals more than he's heard ever did. He shrugs. Swat or knock? So it looks like I'm going to be taking care of an ogre as well now. Okay. You don't see many travellers. Of course not. Why would they come here? We've got bandits on the road and an ogre in the forest. And that yapping fool Rambo tells you, worse yet, hasn't been a healthy child born here in over a year. Most kiff that come here is just passing through. About the ogre. We don't really see them that close to their town. Ogres and kiff don't mix well. Ugly bastards, and they're smart enough to know that. You want to know more? Talk to Rumbald. His farm's southwest of here. If you have information about Lady Eris, you can speak with the Lord. The man wears a deer-style robes, simple but elegant. His fine leather shoes look like they were made for padding around indoors, that they're caked with mud. He yanks at a lock of hair twined around his silk-gloved finger. His fine features are etched with anxiety.
My child is out there. Do they not understand?
My lord, we're doing everything we can. Unfortunately, these villagers...
Beasts take them all. I don't care how you do it, but find her.
A child's mission, I think.
Yes, Lady Alice, my daughter. I've asked around, but nobody in this mud hole has any concerns beyond their swine. They turn my men away like beggars and seem downright pleased to be of no use. But you're not one of my soldiers. And you look like you're used to getting your hands dirty, if you don't mind my saying so.
My lord, I'm mercenary. I'm not mercenary. I'm a lord. I'm a lord of Caed Noir. Harond raises a hand to silence the man. If you find her, he nibbles the thumb of one silk glove. Tell her I won't be upset with her. She can come back and all will be well. I just want to make sure my Alice, my child, is safe. Nothing in the world is more important to me. You want to look a few questions about your daughter?
Of course.
Describe. She's a striking young woman, bears more resemblance to her mother than me. She has auburn hair and delicate, well-bred features. She must be 28, 29 now. Tell me about the disappearance. We stopped in Dengler for a few days. On our fourth evening here, I was making plans to continue our journey. Lady Alice was feeling unwell and went to bed. When I retired a couple of hours later, I found that she had vanished. None of my men had seen her go, and no one in the inn knew where she was. Since then, my people have been combing the village, but we've yet to find a clue, and the locals have been no help. It was merely a stop along the way to Eorna's rest. However, she took ill shortly before our arrival, so it seemed prudent to allow her a few days to recover. What is Eorna's rest? He frowns as if about to protest, but he gives you a sigh. Lady Alice has reached an age where it is prudent for her to marry. Given this legacy business, I can't let her fertile years slip by, nor do I want her womb to fester in the presence of so many hollowborn. I'll go. It seems there would be more potential suitors in New Hermere or New Yarmar. Go for survival as well, I suppose. I'll go for intellect. You think I haven't considered that? Arranging a super role match is difficult. The best prospects for my child lay in Eorna's rest. There are better roads. Okay. I've thought that I wouldn't be slogging through the forest, would I? He waves a hand. The main roads are clogged with people fleeing one way or another to try to escape Waidwin's legacy. It would be difficult for a caravan like mine to pass without incident. At the time, it seemed prudent to move quietly along the back roads. Where's the rest of your family? Surely they wouldn't want to miss your daughter's betrothal. Lady Harland is ill-suited for travel, I'm afraid, and unfortunately Alice has a few other closer relatives. My sister and her husband, Ailey's aunt and uncle, of course, have been visiting Adir these past months. He rubs his knuckles, and as for siblings, Alice has none. My wife has only given birth to Hollowborn since Alice dies. I see. But going back to your daughter. Yeah, I've said the innkeeper, but tell me
A petty,
anything.
small-minded man, just like the rest of them around here. I've been paying him an honest fee for board and bed, and yet he can't be bothered to stir himself to concern for my Alice.
Well, that's not his job. This is why I was hoping you can help. He tugs at the lock of her hair again. I should have never trusted these people around my child. Tell me about
I'm
yourself.
Lord Nestor Harond of Defiance Bay. My family has been prominent there since Imperial times. Our primary estate is on the outskirts of Brackenbury, but we have holdings in New Heomar as well. Those went to my sister and her husband.
Okay then. Well, I think she's probably down in that dungeon place. Right?
I'll stay out of sight.
I think so anyway. It certainly seems like she's definitely there. Orleans hovers by the window, peering out at every few seconds. As you enter the room, she watches you carefully, her hand hovering over her stiletto. She cranes her head to peer behind you. Anyone follow her? Who sent you? Someone told me you're responsible for a heinous killings in Defiance Bay. Let me guess. Was that someone named Midreth? It's It's a lie, plain and simple. I got the wrong side of his employers and now he's after it. But if you're here to do his dirty work, I won't make it easy on you. Relax, I just want to hear your side of the story. What story? The Dominicals came after me. I just happened to rob the wrong place. How was I supposed to know they'd already claimed it? She runs her hands under her hood and through her hair. It was an honest mistake. I'm just trying to survive now. And if you spoke with me, did you know where he's waiting? Please, help me get out of here. Yeah, I don't like the Dominoes. They're pricks. I kind of killed half of them anyway, so go east. Medrift's waiting for you west of the river. Alright, I'm trusting you. Don't have much choice. See if you can send him the other way. That should buy me some more time. She follows the hooded figures towards the stairs, giving you a final uncertain glance as she passes through the door. Get very cannon then.
Hello.
Yes, and I let her go. Yeah, I'm going to be honest. There's no point in me lying, because we're just going to probably have to kill them anyway. Found Nyfre yet? I'm ready to get out of here. Yes, I let her go. Don't worry, I'll catch up with her right after I take care of you.
It keeps coming along nicely.
Your mind comes bearing questions, Watcher.
Let your mind speak for you. I shall listen past the words. You addressed me as a watcher when we met. Do you know what a watcher is? There's a slow chill, and for a moment it seems as though she is going to fade from your vision, as she can't bear to be seen.
The title came unbidden. I do not know why I spoke of it. Yet it seemed the right mantle, a familiar one.
Yes, I do not know from where it came, if I have given events. Oddly enough, it feels like she's not speaking to you. It feels like she's speaking to an audience. The air takes off a curious edge, a chill, which persists for a short moment, then fades into a dull fear. If I have given offence, forgive me, forgive me. You would know more than I. Have you encountered watchers before? I do not know. It is an old feeling. I do not know where it stems from. It was a word that arose when you saw me. It is said watchers see much that others do not, and I have been hidden from the eyes of others for some time. I asked you about something else. How is it that no one can see you?
Their eyes see me, but their minds will not remember past the call.
Call?
My face is like the call of a newborn, hiding the face beneath. And for my body, I am able to wrap myself as a mother cradling her child. I am here as you see me, but to them, their eyes see only the cloak that I wear, a peasant mother, dirty, shabby, not worth knowing. As a watcher, you see more than others. To the eyes of most, I am as unseen as the spirits you share memories with.
How are you able to affect minds? I divert the flow of their senses down a different path, to a place easily forgotten. It's not unwelcome when one does not desire the presence of others. The surface of their mind registers a figure, but the memory slips away. They see a woman, but there is no desire for conversation, no desire for any questions, and I have none to ask. Okay. When we first met, how was I able to enter your dream?
I do not know. What do you speak of? If you were in my thoughts, I could not feel your presence, nor do I know what you saw there.
As she speaks, you suddenly feel an odd sensation in your mind, as if walking into her thoughts would be as if walking down a back street of merchant stalls. The claustrophobia of wooden shelves and canvas tarps made less oppressive by the sheer number of enticing phials and bottles that stretch out to the sides of you. You suddenly realise that whatever she permits it or not, you could enter her dream and serve it without her ever knowing. Oh, so we could dive into her mind whenever we want. And in response, your hand twitches. There's the feeling that you could simply pick up a file, taste it, sample it, and keep the memory as your own. And suddenly you find yourself back in your present thoughts. Though you were away for but a moment, she seems unaware of your diversion of thoughts. And maybe one of your gifts, an ability to walk in memories as easily as someone walks upon the ground. I want to see your memories. May I try again? Yeah, I may as well be forward where. You feel her slowly nod, though she makes no motion. My mind is open to you, as if it were before we met. I could not stop it if I wished. I do not want to impose, I seek permission. My memory is not as it was. Much has been forgotten. If you walk in my thoughts, I have nothing hidden. My thoughts feel strangely apologetic and welcoming both at once. Perhaps you may learn something that will strengthen you, or a clue to what has caused this terrible burning of the fields and souls and hatred bittersweet. Her mind gives away. You're passive, almost unnoticed as you enter her as before, circling the memory you shared when we first met. And suddenly you are calm. You are on a plateau, almost. I walked again in your dreams, thoughts, and I believe your memories. A mixture of curiosity and fear wells between you. She raises her left hand, the chiming at her wrist quelling the rise within her. She is frightened, but curiosity anchors her.
And what did you see in my memories? I would hear you speak of them.
The memory I saw upon meeting you, it was you, helping give birth to a child. There is a silence. As your breath falls still, you hear the faint cry of a child in the distance, a newborn child, almost exactly like what you heard in the dream. As you listen, the grieving mother raises both her hands, as if weaving, her wrist chiming as she does so, in a semblance of the gentle turning she provided while the newborn was crowning. To your surprise, you recognise the motions and the words from the memory, even if they are new to you. As she weaves her hands through the air in front of you, the child's cries grow still, yet the sound of the chimes weave almost hypnotically into your thoughts. The sky seems sharp and clear, and you feel as if you are towering over your surroundings, as if kneeling atop a great pillar, just as she did in the memory. To your surprise, the grieving mother falls as if her strings were cut, and her knees crack hard against the ground. Her hands never cease moving in the air, the chimes echoing her movements. In a ragged voice, you hear her speak. The voice is that of a much older woman than the one before you, harsh, almost desperate.
Tell me what you saw. Show me what you saw. Where were you?
This one. As she kneels before you on the ground, she whispers hoarsely and even fainter in the distance between you.
The stone of the plateau. Its color. Tell me its color.
Yeah, definitely silver. Just as well I've got the other stuff over here so I can listen to what I say, so yeah, definitely silver. As you watch, her hands rise before you. She clasps them, she cups them, as if feeling them for the first time. And she stares down in the cradle of her hands, and the chimes sound once, twice, as they swing with the movement.
And what did these hands hold? Tell me what you saw. The stone of the and what did these hands...
There was a sudden intake of breath and then a release. Her eyes blur closed, forming into slits. But in the brief glimpse you have of her changing expression, the rippling pain in her features seem to have smoothed. She swallows once, twice, and when you feel her once again in your thoughts, the rasping husp of her voice swallowed and drawn within her.
It was the birthing bell you saw. Has it been so long? Have I forgotten so much?
Maybe so. With the words come a river of impulses, though as if loosed from a breaking dam. And as your mind wraps the impulses into words, you realise it is her muscles and her hardened thoughts relaxing the breathing again. There is such an intensity you almost want to step back from the flow, but you find a wave of impulses cause questions to float to the surface. Among the name, the Watcher. What is the birthing bell?
It is a plateau formed of the spirit stone Outtro. At its top is set a great bell, cradled in the reaching arm of the plateau. It stirs in the wind, and it sounds for leagues when struck by kith hands. In distant times, the great bell served as a Glonfothan watchtower, perhaps. Why they abandoned it, I do not know. Other men came in time, settlers, and claimed the tower as their own. I, in turn, claimed it from them. The pillar became a cradle where I could draw new souls into the world.
In your memory, you were helping a woman give birth.
Yes. Yet, I believe you only saw a small part of the birthing ritual. It is not all in a moment, nor in a day. It is a journey of many years between the child, the mother, and I.
There was much I could do to aid the mother. Some thought the physical comforts of ritual to steady their thoughts, even Adra from the bell. Others would seek advice, words of counsel for the days ahead. I was able to provide drops, punctures, and a reading of the child's spirit, all to strengthen the mother. Can you tell me about the birthing ritual?
The ritual was one of many steps. It took many tens of years to carve them, but always the child's thoughts were there to guide me from the moment it began to awaken, to the 3 seasons within the mother, to the birthing day, and the years to follow. The child's thoughts, that is where it began. The expectant mother, I could often sense her thoughts, and those of her child, before she could. I would soothe her, free her from the panic of questions. I would sound the memory of the birthing bell atop the plateau in her mind, letting the memory of the vibrations fill my thoughts and hers. Often, the child's soul could hear it too, so the sound of the bell echoed in the mother's thoughts.
You sense the mother's thoughts. Sharing memories and thoughts can bond lives together, as can hardships, and most of all, the sharing of what is familiar. The bell itself provided shelter for such thoughts, opportunities to see deep into the crevice, hollows in the rock where one could find shelter, clefts where you could feel the Adra all around you. As she speaks, you feel your legs bent, crossed, and the warmth of walls around you, and blankets woven thick beneath you. Such shared images can bond souls even tighter, and allow them to draw strength from the other. You mentioned the ritual lasted years. What would happen after the birth? Once the pain is channeled away, the mother and the child's breath breathe again. I sound the birthing bells on my wrist and allow the mother to heal the child's thoughts, the ringing echoing in each other's thoughts. The bells open the way between them, let her feeling pass into the newborn and let her feel the child in return. And when the feelings meet, that is when I weave another memory and leave it tied in their minds. So why would you tie another memory in the mind? Did I get this? Did the bells play an important role in the birthing process? Yes, and for years after. I gave a set to the child after delivery. It is a reminder of the memory the mother and child shared. I feel an odd sensation, a warmth, and you can feel a smile being shared. Then it flickers and it's gone. As the bells coax the child forth, so they accompany the child onwards, fastened about the wrist to care for him in mind and body. To care for them, I think. There is no magic in it except the magic of particularity. If a child thought to leave their cradles or escape their cribs, the mother could know through the warning of the chimes alone. At times, if the bond was strong, so would I. The cessation of a smile comes again, slower, more gnawing between you. If you watched children, much trouble may be had from tiny hands. If not watched children, okay. I suppose so. The chimes are kept until the child needs them no longer, when I no longer can hear them sounding in my mind. I know their spirit has changed, and the bonds we share are long gone. The shredding may last many years, or but a few, but it is necessary. It's like the grieving mother is like a nanny or something. It feels like you watched over these children for years. Children are fragile things. Even the ties of blood and mind may not be enough. They must be watched, and even then, the body may fail in the mind. As if watched, even the most sickly child may cling to life, be determined enough, and many of their souls were tied to me. If a child's spirit failed, I could sound the chimes in their mind and grant them strength, even from afar. It did not always serve, but it gave hope. Sounds like you've seen tragedy too. Enough to never wish to feel it again. In the times before the bell, children who died were cast upon the waters of Lake Beyond the Bell. Sometimes, while alive, if their paths and futures were deemed weak, it was a different time. Children were treated carelessly. Those times, those times are past. Why would you give a telling of a child's spirit?
Many would come seeking their child's future, or a reading into the child's past, the lives its soul is said to have lived.
Someone's stuck. I can't breathe. There is a slow chill, and for a moment it seems as though she is going to fade from your vision, as if she can't bear to be seen. And there is a spike of fear, alarm.
Such things are not mine to see. I meant no offense.
So this is where we were the last time. You're frightened. Something about watchers. As though the watchers crosses your mind, you feel a sharp pain, stabbing, and a sudden burn of lashes across your back and shoulder. And then it is gone, and you feel the grieving mother before you, silent, almost fearful.
I was something else, but because the title Watcher was cast on me, the word carried a weight I had neither earned nor deserved. The world seems filled with such titles. They distract, I think, from the actions of the person, from their strengths.
Why did you believe you were a watcher?
The world has many corners, and in some corners the name Watcher is more known. It is an easier title than others, and at times it is easier to wear. Placing a title upon what is unknown can dispel the fear of it, and I did not fight it. I even believed it true, though I knew little of the ways of Watchers. It even granted me strength.
So she lied.
I was able to see the thoughts of others, shape them, and help guide souls. Watcher seemed enough, and the name seemed to matter little in the light of one's acts.
But if they came to you to read their child's soul, what did you tell them?
I drew upon the present. I felt the soul of the mother before me, and used that to tell the child's path, to give it a voice. If only the thoughts of the mother and the emotions that lie beneath were mine to impart. I did, and so I used that as the telling of their child's future.
So what if it turned to be Outtro?
Futures fulfilled by one's own spirit are as strong as anything seen by another's eyes. And if one draws from the emotion of the mother, it matters only when harm is done. And their lives I knew well. I could weave their lives, their thoughts over time, to the mother, to the child, and once the child had been born, was sheltered, I could relax the threads of thought until the child could stand on its own.
So you shaped their thoughts, made their readings true.
This is my calling, to show them the life I see before them, and even greater, make them believe it.
This is not what a watcher does. You do not shape minds, you see them as they are.
Even the most strongly worded tells may not be enough to save a child and allow it to be born. If I have the strength to strip away the stem of a mother's spite to expose kindness, weave nurturing from disdain and neglect, then that is my calling.
Nope.
And with the weight of Watcher behind my thoughts, these tells gain strength. Strength I never possessed on my own. They believed. And what they believed became the truth. With each child that was set upon that path, the title of Watcher became stronger. You must understand, without such weight upon my words, many lives would have been lost, drowned, cast in the lake beyond the bell. Now the trail to the lake is lost and reclaimed by the forest, as was meant. A Watcher was not there to look over us, but it was a Watcher that saved them, and with a Watcher's strength, children were born, were cared for,
Yeah.
and grew strong.
Inflict your will on another. That is not a reading, that is control.
What use is a frightened will when a spirit is at stake? Would you let the fears of a mother end her newborn's life? You felt it in the memory, the weight of it, the importance of the child's life. It was a memory we shared.
Did you share that memory, or did you inflict it on me? And suddenly there's a rasping cry across your consciousness. She raises her hands, and you see the chimes draped from them, yet they make no sound as she moves.
A greater good was done, and children were saved. It is a choice you may be forced to make one day, and when faced with it, you will make the same one.
When that happens, I'll be making my own choice.
This choice is not yours to make, Watcher. You will do as the world needs, as its children need. It is greater than you and your twist of sight.
Yeah, I really don't like her now.
It is because I once believed I was one, and others believed I was one.
No, you just said you were. Why did you believe you were a watcher? The world has many corners, and in some corners the name Watcher is more known. It is easier title than others, and at times it is easier to wear, so we've already seen this. There's another name for someone with your abilities. I see the word cipher in your mind, and see its meaning. Although I did not train in such things, and the title feels more of a cloak the world casts on me and judges me for. It is curious how a title such as that can define one, and at times be the source of such emotion and comes from one. but the voice of others. It is curse of the world. Do you know anything about Watchers? I feel that they were once marked hatred. Such hate feels dimmed now. I can feel it. The others' hatreds have risen for other titles. What they burned bright in the past, now hates have shifted focus, and they may fall on the same again, either you or me.
And I you. In asking, we reveal ourselves to each other.
So why are you called the Graven Mother? The air seems to go still for a moment, and time stretches as it did before when the two of you first met. There is a wash of uncertainty from her mind, slowly shaping into questions that swirl and do not coalesce. She does not move. She seems paralysed as if you have just wrapped her in a cold blanket.
That is a question for you, not I. That is not my name, although if you wish to hang the title on me, I cannot stop you. Is that what you see when your eyes fall upon me?
Alright, well, I didn't give her the name Graven Mother, did I? I don't think I did. So I named you. As a watcher, you may see what I do not. Or your mind shapes the thoughts I project into a new meaning. There is truth in that title, but it's not all I am. So, what did you grieve then? You must have felt it, seen it. It was as many names as the pain it has accursed. As the world takes shape, you seem to tumble from her, and the wave is great, rushing into your mind. To your surprise, you feel as though you've been touched by the bailiwick again, and behind it, cutting through the torrents like a knife, the thoughts of the grieving mother. There's a wound cut across the belly of the world, a jagged knife that has stripped the stems from men and carved furrows across the wombs of women. There is much I have forgotten, but I can feel the wound all around me. It will not let me rest, not let me be. The children have gone silent, yet their voices may be heard again. Are you speaking of the Hollowborn? The word. There is a slowness of thoughts as the word is being waited, accepted. It doesn't feel natural to hear, you can sense it. It was once unknown to me as to much of what unfolded in the outside world. When the curse came upon us, I thought it a smaller thing, a thing of communities and hearths. My thought seems to stumble, as if on weak legs. It was only when I walked did I feel it stretching out around me, in all the cracks of the world. Children have been cursed. I do not think it was something they caused, nor something deserved. That which is inside them has been torn away. I do not know how, but this wound must be stitched closed. The world bleeds forth from between a woman's legs. If this blood is not stemmed, the world will die and grow quiet. Do you know the cause? There is a desperation, a wailing fear. You can almost feel her thoughts shivering, and you realise she is as lost as you are on the matter, and then a sudden sharp clarity. I shall know it through you. Excuse me. Your eyes will track the cause, find the path, and I will be beside you. There is no wound that cannot be healed, and if you are truly a watcher, then this wound may be seen for what it is. You saw me where I hid. Whoever's hands have stilled the water, you shall see them too. And if there is no way to heal it, I will be there, and you will do what must be done. You were given your sight so that you may watch the world, and you will tend it. The children shall have their voice again. If the will is weak, then I shall strengthen it. Lean upon me. You feel the weight of her words, as if her hands are on your shoulders. You feel the question in your mind lose their edge, and become merely words. As I lean upon you, you shall be my eyes, and I shall be your hands when the time comes. So what do you think of Deerwood and the Empire? These titles are markings on a map and channel people's minds in violent directions. Such things are a Therabian blanket cast over the world where men and women seek more importance than simple being. How do you see the world then? The world is a field of souls, tilled by the Ferris wheel. The thought of cultures and territories do not concern me. The sowing and harvest of the field does. Ferris wheels has slowed, perhaps stopped altogether. Whatever words, titles, laws, and blades not devoted to carving away the harm or healing that wound holds little importance for me. There's something else I would want to know about you.
The birthing bell. It is where I could draw new souls into the world. I recall some of the memory of it through what you have seen, but not all.
Is a birthing bell located? The birthing bell lies deep in the great forest of Deerwood, at the borders of Glafafan lands surrounding it. Barely a town, not one you would find on any map, but it held an important place for those there, even if they were far from the beaten track. Small families, tied like a knot, joined at the wrist and mind and thought. All were welcomed, all had purpose. Wow, she had a lot to go for. Don't know who's worse, Durance or her. Okay, so when I first met the Griffin on the Wood, I experienced a dream, or was it a memory? Childbirth. Perhaps the grieving mother herself can explain what I saw. She didn't realise that I'd seen inside her mind. Did she know exactly what this vision was? If I can help her recall the details, perhaps then she'll be able to tell me more. The memory involving a place known as the birthing bell. It was clearly of great significance to the grieving mother. Perhaps she can tell me something of what happened there and why it is important to her. The grieving mother was a midwife at the birthing bell. See, I thought she was a nanny because it seems like she is a midwife, but they didn't take a nanny after it. And she used to read the souls of unborn children. However, she admitted that such readings were often fabricated based on what the expected mother wanted to hear. She clearly thought she was doing those women and their children a service, but she wasn't inclined to discuss the matter further at this moment. Perhaps she'll open up as more of the journey continues.